hello everybody, and thank you for attending today's webcast, Shift Gears to Gen 6 Fibre Channel, with our presenters Nishant Lodha, who's the Product Marketing Manager for QLogic, and Truls Michael Bust, who is a Director of Marketing at Brocade. This webcast will last about 45 to 50 minutes of presentations with 10 minutes at the end for Q&A. Before we begin, we wanted to cover a few housekeeping items. At the bottom of your audience console are multiple application widgets that you can use. If you have questions during the webcast, you can click on the Q&A widget at the bottom and submit your questions, and we'll try to answer them during the webcast. A copy of today's slide deck and additional materials are available in the resource list widget that looks like a green folder at the bottom of your screen. You can expand your slide area by clicking on the maximize icon on the top right of the slide area or by dragging the bottom right corner on the slide area. If you run into any technical difficulties, please click on the help widget. It has a question mark icon and covers common technical issues. And finally, an on-demand version of this webcast will be available probably tomorrow, and we'll notify you via email. And with that, I have no further housekeeping, and I'd like to introduce you to Nishant Lodha, who's going to begin our webcast. Hi, Nishant.
Thank you, Judy. Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining me, Nishant Lodha from QLogic, and Truls from Brocade. We are very excited to bring forward to you in the next 45 to 50 minutes some exciting new technologies that the two companies have been working on Fibre Channel, and more specifically Gen 6 32 gigabit Fibre Channel. We'll talk to you about some of the trends that we are seeing out in the industry, starting off with talking about what Fibre Channel is and what is driving Fibre Channel in terms of industry trends and technologies. We'll move on and talk about why Fibre Channel continues to matter for enterprise data centers, workloads, applications. The demands that today's enterprise data centers have are being satisfied by Fibre Channel and have been satisfied for Fibre Channel, and we continue to look forward with these new technologies will enable data centers to meet their next generation requirements. And then we'll focus more on specifically Gen 6 or 32 gigabit Fibre Channel. We'll talk about some of the recent products that both QLogic and Brocade have introduced in the last several weeks. We'll then talk more specifically about how the two leaders in Fibre Channel technology, QLogic and Brocade, are closely collaborating on engineering, on a marketing, sales, and enablement activities to bring forward a storage area network that delivers extraordinary value to your enterprise data centers. Finally, we'll summarize our discussions and certainly take question and answers. With that, let me move forward to talking to you about more Fibre Channel market trends. Okay. So what is the technologies that is driving Gen 6 Fibre Channel? So QLogic and Brocade, we talk to our customers, we talk to our analysts, we look at market dynamics, and we see what's happening around the world around us is that there is significant increase in the number of virtual machines that are being hosted on a single physical server. What started off as a couple of virtual machines, and people are now running monster virtual machines, big, heavy workloads as virtual machines, and running 30, 40, 50, amazing number of virtual machines on a single server. This has certainly been brought about by the availability of multi-core processors and multiple sockets within the same server, helping drive this amazingly dense virtual machine environments. That also brings about complexities. Workloads that were dependent on a single server and a single server's availability are now being aggregated together on a single server. That puts an enormous amount of workload and responsibility on all the hardware components that reside in that server. And that is one of the things that we have purpose-built Gen 6 Fibre Channel for, to support the ever-increasing virtual machine density running on multi-core processors. In terms of data, right, we all understand, we all are the biggest generators of data all around the world. There is more content, more video, more bigger databases, more transactions being generated every day as everything becomes electronic in our world. There's big data applications that are moving amazing amounts of data across the wire, analyzing this data to give out trends and heuristics. all this data movement has been possible, high-speed data movement has been possible by the advent of SSD drives moving into NVMe, non-volatile memory over PCI Express technologies. No longer is today's storage workloads bottlenecked by spinning drives. All-flash arrays are dominant in multiple data centers and are significantly increasing the amount of performance capabilities available on the storage side to move data, to process data, to store data. Not just about performance, virtual machine density, and managing big data applications. Our enterprise data centers are all under constant and enormous pressure, not only to keep our environments up and running 24/7 into 365, but also under pressure to reduce our operational expenses. And certainly manageability is, as enterprise data centers become bigger and bigger, as you're hosting more virtual machines, moving more data, using high-speed flash, managing this entire infrastructure becomes a challenge. QLogic and Brocade thoroughly understand what customers' challenges are today and where these challenges will be as they move forward. And we have specifically designed Gen 6 Fibre Channel, its features, its performance, to make sure that you can run the maximum number of virtual machines without losing on reliability, availability, and performance, move the biggest and heaviest amount of data in databases, but at the same time, keep your data centers up, easy to manage, and at the same time, reduce your operational expenses. And in the next several slides, we'll talk to you about what the two companies have worked together on Gen 6 Fibre Channel that proves that all of these challenges, all of these drivers for Gen 6 Fibre Channel are real, present, and can be deployed today. Certainly storage networking like QLogic and Brocade and our multiple different partners around the industry are the center of all of these workloads and all of these drivers within today's data centers. So with that, I would like to ask Truls. Truls, do you see some of these trends also in the marketplace from a Brocade perspective?
Yeah, Nishant, very much. From the Brocade side, there's really four big factors that we see that are affecting the needs in the marketplace. One of them is the need for availability and making sure that you can keep the infrastructure running under absolutely any circumstance. We see the need for performance, and you talked a little bit about virtual machines and what that's causing in terms of the need for performance in the environment. And in here, what we found is the combination of that high virtual machine density on the server, as well as the growth in storage. With more storage, there's more I/O. Those are almost directly correlated. And so we got to keep up with the performance the customers need to deliver the performance that's required in today's enterprise environments. Scalability, of course, big deal. As you get more and more applications and more data, you got to be able to keep up with that infrastructure. And then finally, what's perhaps not being talked about so much is the importance of security. What we find is a very large percentage of downtime events are actually related to security breaks, denial of service attacks or other cyber crime. And so maintaining full security of the environment is a critical factor for today's data center environments. And what's interesting here is, Fibre Channel has really been at the heart of delivering all of these different elements. And in fact, Fibre Channel has been at the heart of kind of all the major waves of innovation that we've seen in storage over the last couple of decades. Starting, of course, initially with shared storage, which is what brought Fibre Channel on the scene, the ability to consolidate storage into large storage arrays, and then provide access to that storage out to a large number of servers. That gave customers the benefits of consolidated management of storage. It allowed them to take advantage of things like integrated replication and that kind of functionality within the storage array, and just made it much easier to manage large-scale storage environments. Not to mention the benefit of avoiding trapped storage, where you used to have these storage islands that were associated with each individual server. It's impossible to predict how much storage you're eventually going to need for a server, so that always meant some level of over-provisioning within the environment. So a shared storage environment is far more efficient and much easier to manage. Going on from shared storage, of course, to server virtualization, where as that got deployed, the preferred interconnect for server virtualization is Fibre Channel. That's what we see underpinning most virtualized server workloads in the data center. And from a pure performance perspective, when people do their VMark benchmarks, all top 20 VMark results, and in fact 39 of the top 40 have been run using Fibre Channel as the interconnect. And that's sort of an obvious thing because, that is how you get the best performance, but it's also by far the most common deployment infrastructure. And then, of course, now more recently, in the last few years, we've really seen the advent of flash storage. And, that's been very exciting because, over the last couple of decades, if you look at compute power has grown by maybe 175-fold, something like that, an enormous increase. And we've had a huge increase in capacity, storage capacity as well. But spinning media has only improved by, maybe 30% of that same period. So it hasn't kept up in any way, shape, or form close to the compute power and the amount of capacity that we have. But flash storage finally, completely upends that whole picture by delivering a level of, I/O performance that we actually need and can make use of with today's compute power. So it gets us kind of it gets us the performance that we that we can really take advantage of. And of course, as you deploy flash storage, you want to make sure that the storage network doesn't now become the new bottleneck within the environment, which is why it's so important to keep up, moving forward. And what we've seen here is with flash storage, most of that market is really converged on Fibre Channel, and Fibre Channel is being used for anywhere from 70 to 80% of the interconnect for flash storage. So Nishant, is this? Are we the only ones that are seeing this in the marketplace?
So, Truls, the way I look at it, right, it's like you talked about, that across these three generations of major revolutions in storage, whether you're talking about the introduction of shared storage from virtualization and to all-flash arrays, we see amazing demand for Fibre Channel connectivity across these multiple generations and revolutions in the enterprise data center. What QLogic did is that we regularly talk to a lot of analysts out there, and here I show you some of the data that we have seen from our analyst community out there. For example, Gartner, right? Gartner predicts that block-based storage will form over 70% of the external controller storage market, and a large percentage of this block-based storage continues to be Fibre Channel. Enterprise customers, from shared storage to virtualization to flash, are continuing to bank on Fibre Channel for the highest speed, security, availability, and performance, all the things, Truls, that you talked about. See, not just driven by all-flash arrays, storage capacity is significantly increasing, and Fibre Channel and storage area networks and vendors like QLogic and Brocade are right in the middle of it, moving this enormous amounts of data to satisfy the needs to build the biggest and largest databases driven by Fibre Channel SANs. So that was Gartner and IDC. If you look at people like TechTarget, who do large-scale surveys and talk to hundreds and thousands of different customers across the entire year, and some of the input that we received from, for example, TechTarget was the primary driver that they see for next-generation Fibre Channel, Truls, like you said, is all-flash arrays and hybrid systems. Now, with the bottleneck of spinning disks have slowly disappearing from the data center, and people can now cram more virtual machines on the same server, are able to move data at an amazingly fast speed. Now, when all-flash arrays bring about this amazing capabilities, you need to match it with a high-speed, highly available and scalable Fibre Channel connectivity. So these two things are going hand in hand across the data centers. With the introduction of 32 gigabit Fibre Channel, most of the analysts seem to believe that 32 gig Fibre Channel adoption will be primarily driven as people migrate to SSDs, which deliver low latency, high IOPS, and higher throughput, no longer bottlenecked by the hard disk, will introduce and will accept 32 gigabit Fibre Channel into the data centers to best leverage their investments in all-flash arrays. So, having talked about some of the analysts' views about Fibre Channel and all-flash arrays, I think the key takeaway here is that people who are looking at all-flash arrays and to able to best leverage the performance from all-flash arrays are looking at next generation or 32 gigabit fiber channel. But see, traditionally, we all have deployed Fibre Channel, and there are millions of customers from QLogic and Brocade out there relying on Fibre Channel for their enterprise connectivity. See, within enterprises, the most common application that have always relied on Fibre Channel connectivity is our data warehousing, our transaction processing applications, all the check imaging, all the business intelligence, manufacturing related inventory programs. All of those have traditionally relied on Fibre Channel and continue to rely on Fibre Channel. The big operating systems and workloads, whether it's virtualization, whether it's SAP HANA or Microsoft Hyper-V and big Oracle databases, are certainly continuing to use Fibre Channel as a storage interconnectivity. But what we are seeing as a new trend is that a lot of the new cloud-based players, whether it's Google, Salesforce, or eBay, they are deploying Fibre Channel in their data centers for a lot of availability, security, and performance reasons, where data is extremely critical and the highest amount of performance is required. From cloud players to database players to traditional enterprise applications, people are relying on Fibre Channel, and a lot of these are QLogic and Brocade customers. So overall, we talked about some of the key trends that are driving Fibre Channel, the increasing amount of deployments of all-flash arrays and high virtual machine density, along with the exponential growth in storage capability and capacity. All of these, in my opinion, are the key drivers for Gen 6, or the latest generation of 32 gigabit Fibre Channel. So before we talk about with you guys more specifically about what the Gen 6 products from QLogic and Brocade bring about, I'd like to take a few minutes to talk to you about why Fibre Channel really matters. And with this, let me ask Truls a question. So, Truls, what do you see in terms of metrics and data? Why Fibre Channel continues to be important? What are the things that you are seeing in the customers around you?
Yeah, Nishant, so it's fairly straightforward. Fibre Channel continues to matter because that's the environment that customers are relying on, every day for their business critical infrastructure. And just to give you kind of a few different types of statistics, if you look at what's going on, with Fibre Channel in the world today, more than 30 billion transactions go through Fibre Channel environments every day. It's deployed in mission critical workloads. For the most commonly used transactions that we do, the banks do, across the world. In fact, 96% of the world's banks, airlines, and retailers run on Fibre Channel. This is the infrastructure that they rely on to make sure that their infrastructure keeps running round the clock, 24/7 by 365. And the Fibre Channel market continues to evolve. In fact, we ship more than 11 million ports of Fibre Channel every single year. So this is the environment the customers rely on as the technology that they continue to deploy, because it's the infrastructure that they know they can rely on for their mission critical applications. Now, if you think about sort of where does this fit in, Nishant, you talked about it a little bit in terms of the types of applications. And what we're finding is, obviously, Fibre Channel has very broad applicability and can be deployed for any application, but we typically see Fibre Channel deployed certainly to support mission-critical applications, where it's by far and away the preferred interconnect, and also for business-critical applications. We see IP storage deployed, for some of the applications that do not have quite the same high availability demands. And then, of course, we see the deployment of cloud as well, where there's been rapid growth, but you're seeing that in some of the applications where the availability demands are not quite as high. So, but anytime you're talking about, block storage, you're talking about, need for high performance, you're talking about the most demanding database workloads, high-scale VDI farms, and we're seeing this for on-premise private cloud deployments as well. Fibre Channel is by far and away the preferred interconnect. So, Nishant, can you tell us a little bit more about the technology that's involved in delivering the performance and availability that customers depend on here?
Absolutely, Truls. So if you look at Fibre Channel, right, let's look at what are the key building blocks of Fibre Channel. Fibre Channel, from day one, right, has delivered on these three key building blocks. right? These matters and have always mattered to enterprise data centers: availability and security, performance and scalability, and certainly continuous innovation. Continuous innovation to help meet where data centers, enterprise workloads, and surrounding technologies are moving to. Now, if you look at a little bit about availability and security, a lot of people who know Fibre Channel would appreciate that Fibre Channel is a dedicated fabric secured by strong access controls, right? Like tools talk about, a lot of unplanned outages in application downtime are caused by cyber crimes, right? And they are all around us. Look at newspapers, recent attacks on banks, on Disney World, for example, right? All of these cause business disruption. Fibre Channel is purpose-built as a dedicated fabric with strong access controls. You do not plug in a device into a Fibre Channel switch and automatically get access. There is no plug-in to access. Everything is locked by default, and you need to specifically enable access. The fabric is completely dedicated and not shared with any other workload other than what relies on Fibre Channel. Fibre Channel technology itself has been around for 15 plus years and continuously evolving. This technology, this stack has been field hardened and trusted by millions and millions of deployments across data centers. QLogic is today standing at close to 18 million Fibre Channel ports being shipped over its lifetimes. Amazing amount of people who have worked through Fibre Channel, who have deployed Fibre Channel, make it field hardened and chosen it for the security that it can deliver and the unsurpassed availability that will bring for your enterprise data centers. But that's availability and security. What about performance and scalability? So if you look at performance, right, these things that I'm talking about are inherent into the technology. For example, performance, right? Fibre Channel as a protocol is fully offloaded, zero copy, and a lossless protocols. A lot of these things, zero copy, lossless, you hear today with RDMA and some Ethernet-based technologies, these have always been in Fibre Channel. The protocol is fully offloaded, zero copy, and does not lose any frames while moving data across. What that brings about is that you do not load your physical server and your compute resources with moving I/O. All of that is done internally within the QLogic technology. What this continues to deliver to people, and that is really important for enterprise data center, is deterministic and scalable performance. Today, if you are a small or medium-sized enterprise and are relying on Fibre Channel, as you grow bigger, right, you need to scale your performance, scale your infrastructure, and that is simply done and easily done by simply adding more resources into your infrastructure without worrying about whether this will scale linearly or not. So these are the things that have always been in Fibre Channel and customers have relied on. But what have the companies done to bring about innovation within Fibre Channel? Now, we talked about, and we're talking to you about Fibre Channel in its 6th generation or Gen 6 Fibre Channel. I saw some recent reports from Crahan Research which talks about the growth in Fibre Channel connectivity for external storage arrays. And it says more than 50% of connectivity in external storage arrays is Fibre Channel, and over 70% or 80% connectivity for all flash array-based storage is Fibre Channel. So more and more storage ports are being driven by Fibre Channel today, and clearly with the all-flash array trend, it tells you that customers who are choosing the latest and greatest technologies understand that the latest and greatest Gen 6 Fibre Channel is the right match for all-flash array and such heavy workload deployments. QLogic and Brocade have worked together a lot of things, right? The QLogic Store Fusion technology thoroughly and finely integrates with Brocade's own Fabric Vision technology, and these two things work together silently and quietly in your enterprise data centers to bring about and reduce a lot of simplified deployment for data centers, accelerate diagnostics, make the SAN more available, high performing, as well as deliver quality of service. And both me and Truls, as we go through these slides, are going to talk to you a little bit more about how these two companies came about collaborating and how the best and brightest minds of QLogic and Brocade engineering have come together, understood customer challenges, collaborated on these technologies to deliver extremely value-added, highly resilient and available storage infrastructure. Now, looking forward, right, the sixth generation fiber channel is here, introduced a few weeks ago. The companies are working together on next generation fiber channel or Gen 7 fiber channel, and you will see products around those in the next few years as the ecosystem matures. The two companies are also working together on FCNVMe, which is transporting NVMe or the latest and greatest flash-based technology or fiber channel. Once again, the companies are collaborating to continuously deliver innovation, understanding where data centers are going, the advent of flash, and delivering features and technologies that help you best leverage your future investments. So having talked about some of the building blocks of Fibre Channel, I'd like to go ahead and, like I promised, talk to you more specifically about what are these Gen 6 or 32 gigabit Fibre Channel products that QLogic and Brocade have introduced. So before we jump into some of the more specifics, I'd like to provide you what were the key themes that QLogic focused on and purpose-built Gen 6 Fibre Channel on. We understand that from a customer perspective, right, the key things that matter to customers is, number one, people who rely on Fibre Channel would like to accelerate their mission-critical applications. They would like to best leverage their investments in high-speed servers, high-speed fabric, as well as all-flash arrays to help accelerate their mission-critical applications, which have always relied on Fibre Channel. Not just that, availability and security is an important concern for data centers around the world, and Gen 6 Fibre Channel brings about a VM-aware infrastructure or virtual machine-aware infrastructure that allows you to track individual workloads and deliver quality of service for individual virtual machines so that you no longer have to do any guesswork as to which virtual machine I/O when sharing resources has lower or higher priority. Things can be controlled by the system administrator automatically and dynamically to balance workloads in a highly dense virtual machine environment. What this brings about is a highly resilient infrastructure. Technologies like forward error correction bring about automatic background correction of any frame errors that were introduced, overall delivering a Fibre Channel SAN, which is known for reliability, availability, and resiliency, and taking it one level up to the data centers and the demands that they will be posing in the future. I talked about and Truls supported some of my thoughts there on the constant pressure on reducing operational expenses and the difficulty in managing these hyperscale and constantly evolving data centers. We have worked together within Gen 6 Fibre Channel to improve the productivity of IT staff. You do not want your IT staff to be just focusing all their energy or just keeping the lights on. You need the staff to focus on how to architect the data centers moving forward, how to best improve performance and efficiency moving forward and deliver business value. Technologies like Store Fusion from QLogic and Fabric Vision from Brocade help improve IT staff productivity significantly and hence reduce operational expenses. So with that, let's talk about what our QLogic's Fibre Channel adapters look like. So I'm not boasting, but QLogic is the first Fibre Channel adapter company to deliver a Gen 6 or 32 gigabit Fibre Channel adapters. We are already shipping these adapters to many, many customers today, and we have been many of our early customers have spent months and months evaluating these technologies and giving us feedback, and that has helped us make this product when it became generally available a few weeks ago to be robust, industry qualified, and tested. So QLogic introduced their Gen 6 Fibre Channel adapters a few weeks ago. They are available in single, dual, and quad port form factors to suit any server needs or any blade server needs that enterprise data centers would have. All these adapters come with Store Fusion technology by default, which helps improve IT staff productivity by simplifying deployment, accelerating diagnostics, and working together with Brocade's Store Fusion technology, Brocade's Fabric Vision technology. So end-to-end Fibre Channel Gen 6 ecosystem. At the same time when QLogic announced their Fibre Channel adapters, Brocade announced their Gen 6 Fibre Channel switches. So we have today an entire Gen 6 or 32 gigabit ecosystem available out there. What this delivers to customers is certainly, number one, accelerating mission-critical applications. Our own internal analysis indicates that just moving from Gen 5 or 16 gigabit fiber channel to Gen 6 fiber channel can significantly increase your database performance. And databases is one thing that has always relied on fiber channel, whether they're running on physical servers or whether they're running on virtual machines. And Gen 6 Fiber Channel significantly improves not just data warehousing application-related workloads on Gen 6 Fiber Channel, but also improve a lot of transaction processing applications like check processing and all of that when moving from Gen 5 to Gen 6 Fiber Channel. We talked about enabling a more resilient infrastructure, technologies like forward error correction, and quality of service being present within the Store Fusion technology in QLogic adapters help deliver a more resilient infrastructure that you can rely on, that you're not constantly struggling to find, to fix your downtime, not constantly struggling to just keep the lights on. A resilient infrastructure that is self-healing with forward error correction technology. So, in terms of optimizing IT staff productivity, I talked to you about how some of the Store Fusion features simplify deployment. There is technologies that QLogic and Brocade have worked together, which is Store Fusion from QLogic and the Fabric Vision from Brocade, that do software-defined deployments between QLogic and Brocade, where QLogic, when it's connecting to the Brocade switches, can automatically talk to each other, identify each other, and put forward value propositions to each other directly over the fabric, helping reduce, or in many cases eliminate some of the manual tasks that system administrators or SAN administrators had to do when setting up fiber channel SANs. We talked about management, and management is one of the key challenges that we see around with hyperscale and big data centers with hundreds and thousands of storage connectivity ports out there. Some of our key deployment features help simplify management so that customers can now focus on bringing about a value-added SAN working these two technologies together from QLogic and Brocade. So let's talk about some of the Gen 6 fiber channel technologies, and more specifically, what are we seeing in terms of accelerating databases and such. So I believe, and a lot of the feedback that I have received from customers is that Gen 6 fiber channel is, according to them, with their own benchmarks, continue to be the most efficient application accelerator out there. So if you look at databases, and I talked to you about just moving from Gen 5 to Gen 6 fiber channel helps increase database performance, whether it's business analytics, data mining, or transaction processing workloads, helps improve database performance of 50 to 80%, and that's an amazing amount of extra value that you can bring about to customers who are using your databases. We all are constantly being pressurized to build more greener and greener data centers, reduce our footprint in terms of energy efficiency on planet Earth. And Gen 6 fiber channel is able to move more data, 36% more data per watt of power consumed over Gen 5 fiber channel. Now, when you choose to deploy Gen 6 fiber channel adapters and switches from Brocade, often customers ask us the question, can I use my existing server? Can I use my existing infrastructure? What do I get additional on my existing infrastructure? So we conducted some more specific analysis to come out with a metric here. In many of the scenarios, we saw up to 31% more performance that a customer can get from their existing server investments when moving from Gen 5 to Gen 6 fiber channel. And this is because fiber channel is completely offloaded. The same server, when you use a similarly configured server between Gen 5 and Gen 6, the server can deliver you 31% higher performance using your existing infrastructure. So it's not a rip and replace technology. And finally, customers have choices between using fiber channel or other block-based, Ethernet-based storage. But a lot of the other Ethernet-based block storage, like iSCSI, are not completely offloaded. Fiber channel is completely offloaded and puts about extremely low load on compute resources, we see up to 2x to 6x better efficiency when moving workloads over Fibre Channel. What that brings about means, if you look at it, it's pretty amazing. As performance scale, as you add more virtual machines into the server, you do not want to further burden your compute resources in moving data. You want to make sure that as you add virtual machines, performance linearly scales to the needs of the virtual machines. So it's important for you to pick something like Gen 6 Fibre Channel, which is completely offloaded and does not put burden on server compute resources. Okay. So another thing that I talked about earlier is the forward error correction technology. Now, forward error correction technology is inbuilt into Gen 6 Fibre Channel. From a technology front, forward error correction is a complex algorithm that works in the background on Gen 6 Fibre Channel to further improve performance and link integrity to support high end-to-end performance data rates. QLogic and Brocade have worked together to bring about the forward error correction technology inbuilt, available by default on the QLogic adapters and the Brocade switches. It silently works in the background to automatically correct any bit errors that were introduced in the frame during transport. So you guys who are managing these big data centers do not need to worry about any retransmission of frames or any performance impacts because of that. Any frame errors that get introduced up to a certain limit are automatically corrected using this forward error correction technology. So that was a brief overview of QLogic's 2700 series Fibre Channel adapters, which bring about resiliency, availability, high performance, and improve IT staff productivity. Now let's see what Brocade is doing around this. So Truls, can you tell us what Brocade has been rolling out around Gen 6 Fibre Channel?
Yeah, Nishant. So Brocade, beginning of this month, and a joint announcement that we had, with QLogic, we're very excited to roll out the first, industry's first Gen 6 Fibre Channel switch, the Brocade G620. And, this is where the whole generational naming of Fibre Channel, referring to it as Gen 5 and Gen 6, really becomes important, because with Gen 6, obviously, you're getting a significant more performance with the new speeds in Fibre Channel, but for Gen 6, you actually have two different speeds. You have both 32 gig as well as 128 gig Fibre Channel to really take up the performance for Fibre Channel overall. I see one of the questions that's come in is, what are the benefits with respect to, deploying Gen 6 Fibre Channel if the storage arrays that you're still using are still running a slower speed, let's say 16 gig or 8 gig Fibre Channel. And there is some testing that's actually been done of that, measuring performance through a Gen 6 Fibre Channel network, but accessing 16 gig or 8 gig storage. And what we're finding is there's a significant performance benefit to be had, even if the the storage ports are still running at the older speed. It's not just about the throughput, but it's about the number of transactions that can be handled through the fabric. So for Gen 6 Fibre Channel, what you're finding is breakthrough performance with a significant increase in both the amount of throughput and the number of transactions that we can take through the Fibre Channel fabric. And you're getting that with a low latency to allow you to really take advantage of flash storage for, and provide maximum performance for mission-critical applications. We have increased scalability. You'll see reflected both in the G620 as well as our other upcoming Gen 6 products. You'll see higher port density to provide an easier way to scale up large-scale environments without increasing management overhead. And then we've placed a lot of emphasis on operational stability and how to maintain high availability within these mission-critical environments, and we've taken that even further with Brocade's Gen 6 Fibre Channel products. Now, here is the Brocade G620 switch, kind of in an overview. So this is a one-use switch that provides 64 ports. So industry-leading port density. We have significantly increased the port density with Gen 6 compared to our prior generation products. The switch itself, you can see the picture on the right-hand side of the screen there. You have 48 regular SFP plus ports that can each serve up 32 gigabits of Fibre Channel. And then in addition, all the way on the right-hand side, you can see that there are 4 128 gig ports. We're calling them QFlex ports. These are QSFP form factor ports that can run at either 128 gig standard Fibre Channel speed or they can be broken out as four 32 gig individual connections. And that could be used with breakout cables, so you can actually connect up to 4 additional ports for each of those 4 ports, and that's how you get 16 ports and a total of 64 ports on the switch. The G620 provides right off the bat both of the standard speeds for Gen 6 Fibre Channel, 32 gig and 128 gig. 128 gig is actually the fastest available, commercially available networking technology of any protocol on the market. The only other sort of high-speed commercially available technology is 100 gig Ethernet, and of course 128 gig takes that significantly up. The QFlex ports provide, we call them QFlex because they're flexible. You're going to see those ports used initially for inter-switch links, ISLs, between multiple of these switches. You can also use them for core edge deployment, where you're using directors at the core, modular directors with blades, and then you can use switches at the edge, and you can use the QSFP ports to provide the interconnect in a very efficient manner. You can use them for breakout cables to individual device connectivity, and then eventually, as you see these same QSFP ports emerging on storage arrays or on servers, you'll be able to use these for individual device connectivity as well. So they are flexible. You're going to see a lot more QSFP ports with Gen 6 Fibre Channel in general. And on top of that, these ports provide additional benefits such as simplification of the cabling by having fewer physical cables running into the switch, which is very important when you start talking about the high port counts that are now served up here. And there's also benefits in terms of energy efficiency compared to traditional individual SFP plus ports. In addition to the ports and the speed and everything that we're providing with the G620 switch, we've also built on our Fabric Vision capabilities for delivering high availability with a major new capability called I/O Insight, which allows you to measure the end-to-end latency going through a storage array in the fabric. So it gives you a view of the performance as seen by the application. And then we're very excited to roll out the new end-to-end integration that we have done with our adapter partner, QLogic. So going on here a little bit to talk about Fabric Vision. Fabric Vision is our framework for providing very high availability. It makes it very simple to deploy kind of 20 years of best practices in one click. It makes it very simple to set up a switch environment quickly in a consistent manner, and then make sure that you monitor that network for high performance. And what we found is customers that are using Brocade's Fabric Vision are able to reduce the most common networking problems that they would traditionally have run into, and it helps eliminate a significant portion of their maintenance costs within the environment. Now, we have taken Fabric Vision further with Gen 6 with a new capability that we're calling I/O Insight. I/O Insight is a capability that's built in directly into the ASIC in our switch. And it gives you a performance measurement where you can see the latency of the individual storage transactions. So that allows you to identify performance degradation at the storage tier. You can look at it kind of in terms of the response time that the application sees. And when you're having a problem, you can easily identify, here's what's going on with the application. You could use this for monitoring a critical application so that when something happens that affects that application, you get notified. Or you can use this for diagnostic purposes when you're having a problem and you're trying to troubleshoot what's going on in the environment. So I want to switch gears here a little bit. So we've spent a lot of time on Fabric Vision and that technology. But what's exciting here is that beyond just providing diagnostics within the fabric, we've actually worked with QLogic to extend that level of integration all the way out to the adapter. And with that partnership, what we've really tried to do here is to extend that value all the way out to the edge. Most of the ports that you see within the SAN are server-facing ports. And so we want to make sure that servers can be very quickly deployed, replaced, and moved across the infrastructure without losing the SAN policies. And we've worked with QLogic to extend that functionality so that you can easily move, add, and replace servers within the environment. We've provided industry-leading network performance to support traffic growth and deliver on the requirements that customers have for virtualized environments. And then we try to provide simplified management through QLogic adapter integration with Brocade Network Advisor, and that's to provide kind of a single pane of glass where you can easily manage the environment and have a view not just of the storage networking elements, but also out to the adapters. So, Nishant, can you take us through the specific areas of integration that we have done together between QLogic and Brocade?
Absolutely, Truls. So, guys, Truls talked about QLogic and Brocade partnership, right? So this has been, the QLogic and Brocade partnership has been going on for several years. So this is not accumulation of a recent development, but QLogic and Brocade have collaborated very closely at engineering level and understanding customers' needs and challenges to bring joint end-to-end value to customers deploying QLogic and Brocade technologies together. QLogic technologies form an integral part on your servers, and a lot of storage arrays out there also rely on QLogic connectivity, and Brocade Gen 6 Fibre Channel is certainly sitting in the middle of this fabric connecting the two pieces together. One of the key technology areas that the companies have participated on technologies on end-to-end cable diagnostics and optics diagnostics, which help customers before they take their environment into production. During the pre-production phase, they can run a bunch of automatic diagnostics that help identify some of the key challenges that they could face potentially when going into production, helps them fix those errors and bring about a more resilient infrastructure, helps improve total cost of ownership for your IT stuff. Certainly on rapid provisioning, we have features like automatic bootload discovery or fabric-based bootload discovery. So you're no longer struggling how to set up boot from SAN. The QLogic adapter automatically talks to the Brocade switch, gets all the details about where to boot from in a boot from SAN environment. As soon as you plug in the QLogic adapter in the Brocade switch, they communicate with each other, exchanging key details over the Fibre Channel fabric, configuring each other for the right environment, and directly boot from a gold image. Help simplify things, help rapidly provision deployment within your data centers. Certainly scalability is an important thing for our data centers. We want to make sure that as we are adding new compute capacity into the fabric or into our racks in enterprise data centers, we want to make sure that this is as simple and as straightforward as possible. So QLogic and Brocade have worked together to bring about a fabric-assigned worldwide name technology where the QLogic adapter gets its identity from the SAN, and you no longer need to manually configure your zoning and LUN presentation configurations on your storage array and the Fibre Channel switches. Makes it extremely simple to deploy. If you're deploying hundreds of servers, it's just a matter of simply configuring using a few commands, and the entire thing can be defined via software, quick provisioning where you can pick up boot LUNs. And finally, I want to talk about some quality of service related things that our two companies have worked together, where now the entire fabric can prioritize your IOs coming from individual virtual machines to make sure that the most critical IO gets the most resources. So excellent technology collaboration bringing about value to enterprise data centers with QLogic Stored Fusion and Brocade's Fabric Vision technologies. So that's a quick overview of all the partnerships, all the products, the challenges, and all the stuff that we are seeing in the data center and what our products from QLogic and Brocade are delivering to enterprise data centers out there. So now a quick look at a summary. What I want to stress upon is certainly Fibre Channel continues to remain the best-in-class IO value proposition. But you look at things from security, manageability, robustness, performance, reliability, and continuous investment protection on your Fibre Channel. Fibre Channel continues to be in the middle of it, delivers you extremely secure fabric with no plug-in access, manageability that is integrated between QLogic and Brocade, availability, performance, and reliability. And reliability goes to the next level with Gen 6 Fibre Channel from QLogic and Brocade. And certainly investment protection, products from QLogic and Brocade on Gen 6 fiber channel or 32 gigabit continue to work on a backward compatibility with your existing infrastructure with 8 gig and Gen 5 fiber channel technologies. So overall, fiber channel remains a strong and dominant, driven by all-flash arrays out there. And Gen 6 fiber channel takes all of this functionality one level up by delivering you the best-in-class I/O value proposition for 32 gigabit fiber channel. So if you guys are interested in learning more about QLogic and Brocade products, some more specific details on the technologies that we have worked together, there are various different resources on this page. Go visit the Brocade webpage to learn more about the Brocade switches, the fabric technology like Fabric Vision that Brocade puts out, and the QLogic 2700 series fiber channel adapters and the Store Fusion technology. So here are the links here, and certainly there is now time for question and answers. Please, Judy, can we take any questions now?
Sure. David Muse from Raytheon asks if Gen 6 is an industry standard, so if products from other companies like Cisco and Emulex were available, would everything interoperate okay?
I'll take that, Judy. So yes, David, Gen 6 or 32 gigabit fiber channel is a standard, and all products that comply to Gen 6 fiber channel should be able to interoperate with each other. See, one of the important things about storage area networks and fiber channels is that traditionally over all these years, interoperability has not been a challenge ever. Rarely I hear from my customers that a Gen 6 product or a Gen 5 product from X vendor has difficulty working with a vendor from a Y vendor. These technologies are well tested, complying to standards, and yes, they will interoperate with each other.
Thanks, Nishant. There's a question about backward compatibility. So from a Gen 6 point of view, what other generations of fiber channel does this work with?
So Gen 6 fiber channel is 32 gigabit fiber channel. It is backward compatible with two previous generations of fiber channel speeds, which is 16 gigabit and 8 gigabit fiber channel technologies. And there's no additional configuration required for backward compatibility. The device automatically detects what it is talking to, and if the other device that we are talking to has a lower speed, will automatically negotiate to the lower speed, the highest common denominator between the two devices talking to each other.
Thanks, Nishant.
And just to add to that question, from a Brocade perspective, we actually support connectivity even all the way back to 4 gigabits. The optics that you have for 32 gigabits will support 32 gig, 16 gig, and 8 gigabit speeds. But you can also use an older or slower 16 gig optic, which will support 16, 8, and even 4 gigabits. So there's backwards compatibility with the Brocade switches actually all the way back to the 4 gigabit speed.
Thanks, Truls. Truls, I'd like you to continue. Greg from Dell was asking about use cases. What do you see as the key use cases for Gen 6?
So the use cases that you're going to see for deployment of Gen 6 Fiber Channel is really around the applications where you need the performance and the scalability that's there. So we expect to see a lot of deployments of Gen 6 Fiber Channel with flash storage for sure, and you're going to see this in some of the most demanding enterprise environments. However, 32 gig I think will rapidly take over. Just very, very broad. We are, the G620 is coming in as the replacement for our current mid-range switch, the current 6510 switch, and we expect to see the full market moving towards 32 gig fiber channel in fairly short order.
Thanks, Truls. A question from Robert from Capgemini. Do the Brocade switch ports provide full non-blocking bandwidth, or is there an element of oversubscription on the ports to aggregate throughput that looks like 32 gigabits?
Yeah, it's a good question. There is no oversubscription, so we provide full line rate non-blocking bandwidth for all 64 ports on the G620.
Thanks.
At 32 gig. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Nishant, I wanted to ask you about what you're seeing from storage vendors in terms of them providing target Gen 6 solutions. Are you seeing any activity there?
Absolutely. So let's talk about the ecosystem in general, right? Here, QLogic and Brocade are in front of you talking about their Gen 6 products. But if you have tracked the storage industry in general, especially the storage target industry, they're generally a generation behind in terms of speeds and feeds on Fibre Channel. So a lot of arrays that you see, storage arrays that you see out there, are still running either 8 gigabit or 16 gigabit Fibre Channel. But from you, Mr. Customer, right, we need to understand that this will not slow down your infrastructure. See, what has happened is that the storage array vendors, although they still have 16 gigabit or even 8 gigabit connectivity, a lot of these storage arrays, especially all-flash arrays, are now being driven in the background with high-speed flash, which brings about so much benefits in terms of transactional performance that a Gen 6 pipe on a server and a fabric end can significantly accelerate your I/O even if your storage array is still on 16 gigabit or 8 gigabit Fibre Channel.
Thanks.
Yeah, and in fact, if you look at the overall transition that we're seeing here, there is so much more momentum behind Gen 6 Fibre Channel than there was back in the day when we first rolled out Gen 5 Fibre Channel, and Flash is an important component of that. And I think we're going to see a full end-to-end ecosystem here, from the server to the switch to the storage array, emerge much more quickly for Gen 6 Fibre Channel than what happened with Gen 5. And as a result, I think we're going to see a much more rapid transition to Gen 6 Fibre Channel in the marketplace than we saw with Gen 5 transition.
Fantastic. Thanks, Truls and Nishant. I think we've answered all our questions. I'd now like to figure out or let people know who won the GoPro. Robert Von Borstel from Chicago Board Options Exchange is the winner. We will be contacting you after the webcast with details on shipping that to you. And with that, I'd like to also remind you that this webcast is being recorded, so if you missed any portion or you want to share it with friends, you will be able to do so. Tomorrow you'll get an email from us with information on how to access the recording. As you exit this webcast, you're going to have an opportunity to respond to a brief survey. Please take a few minutes to share your views. We want these webcasts to meet your needs and be of interest to you, so your feedback is really important. And with that, again, thank you for attending. Thank you, Truls and Nishant, for a fabulous job, and I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.